This is an interview with Reverend Fred Lee Shuttlesworth. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We're at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Today's date is December 10th, 1996. Welcome, Reverend Shuttlesworth. It's really just amazing to have you sitting here back in Birmingham talking about the struggle.
No place like Birmingham. My hometown, place I love more than any other place on the face of the earth.
It's just a great opportunity for me to just be sitting here with you, because now I have within arm's length really the history of the movement, and that is what is so important about being here at the Institute.
Well, at least a substantial part of it. It was God's purpose that in the evolvement of the movement, I would be on the cutting edge. And God prepares people for certain things. Some people do what others won't, and to dare to have faith, put faith in action, I said, is what God needed at that particular time. And He knows who to choose.
He chose a good person. Well, before we start into that, let me just get some of your background. I've known you for many years.
Yes.
But I'd just like to talk about your early childhood for a minute. Tell me just a bit about your mother and father first. Where were they from?
My mother was born in Montgomery, Alabama. Out from Montgomery, Hopewell, I believe, out from Montgomery. And I was born in Montgomery County, too. Until I was about 3 years old when I was brought up here. My mother married Shuttlesworth, so that my name actually is the name of the man who raised me. But my mother said, when you talk about your father, you have to talk about who really raised you. So I always took that. So Shuttlesworth is her married name for me.
And he was from here.
He's from Birmingham. Her parents moved from Montgomery to Jefferson County that sort of make a better living way back in the years. I was about 3 years old then.
Were they farmers?
Farmers, yes, basically.
Did they own their own land?
No.
So they were sharecroppers?
Sharecroppers, I would think.
Okay.
My mother attended the state normal school down there and so forth.
How much of education did she have?
She went to some college. She did a little teaching at that time. She had to go to high school, and she was in what they call state normal. It should be remembered that my mother and my real father never were married. His name was Bella Green. I attended a country preacher who fixed guns. He was very apt to fix watch. He could make a watch or anything. And I just met him after I was grown.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he had a little church out from Montgomery there. I went out and did a revival for him. We knew each other before he died. But,
Did you have a pretty good relationship with him?
Well, it was short, you see. I was grown and pastoring and way up when I knew him.
Okay, so that was the first time you met him?
First time I met him, I was a grown man.
Okay.
And it is to be said, since we're talking about that, in those days, parents exercised a much larger influence over who their children married than now. My mother and father really wanted to marry. They were crazy about each other. The parents didn't like him, so they kept him from.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about his education?
Yeah, I would think that he had probably less than a high school education. He was just real brilliant in his doing things.
Right.
I have that gift. I can just do things. I've built a house without even practicing carpentry. I learned mechanics and so forth. But he was real apt at it. Right. Although he wasn't a man publicly known, except for just in his circle of people.
Right.
And in fact, and I think it's sort of good that we're talking about this, because he never did. He might have married somebody, but he just never did become the man that I think he could have been. Had he been allowed to get married and build a relationship. So he just wandered around, messed around and never did make too much of it in his life.
I said, yeah.
And so sometimes that's to be thought of as people really try to consider their children's future.
Were you the only child?
No. That my mother had another sister, my second sister, my sister under me, was also by him. We're the two whole children.
I said,
And my mother's. The rest of them by the Shuttlesworth.
right.
7 children by then.
Okay.
So 9 of us.
9 of you.
Yeah.
You're the.
I was the oldest and I caught the most trouble. My mother would beat the devil out of me and the top ones and the little ones get in line. So I caught it both ways.
But your mother, for that time, was very well educated.
Well, not with a degree, but she was competent. My mother was competent, and she stood for a lot of things. And I can thank God that my mother's parents and she were really religious people.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God for that, at least in my own life. My mother never did allow me the luxury of being asked where I wanted to go to church. In fact, she would assist me if I wasn't out to bed on time by a strap or a whip or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I had to go. And it's amazing. I have always been allured or enamored of the idea of God when I was a youngster. Mm-hmm. I didn't rebel against God like that. I always wanted to know something like it, something about the supernatural. Mm-hmm. I should also say here, since we talked, I think I've made up early in my life I was either going to be a preacher or a doctor.
Mm. So you determined that very early.
I always knew that I wanted to be a preacher or a doctor. And of course, it so happened.
So the preparations then that you were doing as a youngster was actually in preparation for either one or the other. Yeah. And at what age did you determine that it would be preaching?
Well, when I was a boy, I was always impressed with people who ran revivals in that area. Mm-hmm. I always looked up to the ministry, and I learned now, and I know myself and all, that nobody's a perfect person, but the revival time was a special time. It still ought to be a special time when people come together to be, to think deeply. That week or that 2 weeks or whatever it is, you hear them preaching, you have a knack for thinking for preaching, explaining, expounding as best possible, and people from all around, and it was a moving thing to see people, farmers, most of them were rural, who worked in the mines and so forth, come to revival and be talking about God. So that idea was centered in me very early. And I always thought of God, even when I didn't understand as I do now. Nobody perfectly understands God. That he was it. And he was all. In fact, the Bible says he's all in all when we understand that. And I always wanted to know more about him. And I always had that feeling to want to conform to some relationship with this being.
Yes. So it was really, you basically had no choice.
I had no choice. And then my mother would come from a poor family. My stepfather, Shuttlesworth, had worked in the coal mine. He had one family. In fact, I believe his third child, second child, was from by his first wife, was older than my mother. Mm-hmm. So that he was a much older man than my mother. He was not a religious person, basically. He used a lot of foul language, and we were on the welfare. And he, I guess I saw in his authoritarian type the abuse of my mother. She didn't have it. I remember my mother had, I don't think I ever had a 1-2 dresses at one time. And I learned that she said that you take what you have and make the best out of it. That's a principle I never will forget. And I would regard that people now would understand that a person's life isn't consist of what he had. Bible said that. I remember one time, I don't want to ramble, but
Let's go ahead.
my mother had, I think it was $20. We had to walk from Oxford to Winona, which was several miles at that time, to commissary. And on the way there, my mother suddenly discovered that she had lost, didn't have it with her. And I was a little boy looking up. It's amazing. Children are supposed to pay attention, and I did. I was always after looking forward to that. And she, in the middle of the road, just almost undressing, just a little, because $10, $5 that time was $2 life. And so she just suddenly resigned that she didn't have it. And so I looked for her, knowing her being poor, knowing her not having much. I looked for her to start crying and just going berserk. And she did. And I asked her, I said, well, you mean you ain't even cry over this one? And she said to me some words like this: son, you cannot lose what you never had. And you take what you have left and make the best out of it. That's something that's just deep in my culture of my life, and I can't forget it. But she was tough. And my mother she went to night school. My stepfather was jealous of her for that. He wouldn't go, but he would, and yet, so far as doing things of a bad nature, I've never seen one thing with my mother. That's why I can respect this day and be thankful for her life as I knew it. She didn't have much, but she set a standard for us. Yes. And she insisted that we obey. I was if I got whipped in school, I got never at home. And the people in the community, all of us could discipline. So Ms. Clinton had something when she said it takes really a community to raise a child. We need to go back to that. That's right.
You said there were 9 children.
There were 9 children. All of us are living incidentally right now.
Right. How many boys?
6 girls and 3 boys.
And all are still living.
All are still living. And my mother, just as you know, was buried here, right across the street, the 16th Street there, in 95. Right. And she was 95 years old. Would have been in August of 1995.
Mm-hmm. Now, what community did you move into when you initially came to Birmingham?
They moved into a little place, I don't even know where it is now, called Rat Row. It's over here close to, what do you call it? It's over here close to Goodwin's store in that area. Now, if you go out toward Osmore Road, right. Goodwin's store, but there's a little area somewhere in there. I don't know.
Rat Row?
That's just the little area that we were in.
Right.
And that's where I understand my mother married. I remember my aunt and used the word Rat Row. Mm. I don't even know where it is. And but then my stepfather, Shuttlesworth, had this house. It's a home house now in Oxford.
In Oxford.
Yeah. And he and his friend, Hager, they built only 2 houses, just alike. Mm-hmm. And so he had this house. So when he married her on Rat Road, he moved into that house. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was raised up, went to school out there.
In Oxford.
In Oxford.
What do you remember about your first school?
Seriously, I think my elementary school days and junior high school days, and to some degree the high school, were some of the formative things. I don't want to be misunderstood, but I was always very apt. I really didn't have to study hard. I always was challenged to see what made things tick and so forth. And I could read. I remember, and I'm getting ahead of myself, when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, I think it was, I read a 15-page oration over 3 times and committed to memory for Mrs. Owens. I was in the 7th grade this time. But my earlier education was the old school there going up on Sand Ridge, right off the Oxmoor Road.
Through the curves.
Through the curves, around the curve, and you turn left and go up. And
Was
that's
that old white building, wood building? Was that the same building?
No. The one that's now in junior high school, that was put there. I was the first class that graduated from that in 1937, in the 7th grade, I believe it was. Ninth, whatever. But the old school was just as you turn up that hill, it was just as you turn up between two houses and start up on Sand Ridge, it was there. It was, a ditch ran right down beside the school, but there were some days that I will never forget. And I remember my teachers, they had especially Professor Ramsey, a Christian gentleman, and we went to school with several classes in the same room. I well remember a lot of things about Mr. Ramsey. He never feared to discipline those boys. They were always, those boys were older than I was, and some of them larger than he was. He'd use his switch on them. And he, sometimes I'm in the 6th grade, I believe I was in the 6th grade under him at that time. And some of the boys in the 9th grade would go to the bowl and couldn't get a lesson. I could just see it, and I wanted to do it so bad. And I wondered why he never let me get up and show them. I guess I understand it now.
Right.
It would have been terrible for somebody down here to show somebody up here. And I understood his wisdom in not allowing me to do this. And it has meant a lot into my life. You understand that there are levels and degrees of people's understanding. Maybe some people don't know because they didn't take time to learn, but they're here, they're at a point, and nobody particularly needs to be shown up. And I respect them for this day. And in my early schooling, one of the things that I guess was is vital and key to my life. We always had song and prayer in the morning. We never did have a school without acknowledging God. And even into Selma University, when I got into college after I married years later, going back to school. So people ought to always take time to recognize God. And I know sometimes these days people don't want you to use that name, but I never speak without saying what my roots are.
Sorry. What kind of work did Mr. Shuttlesworth do?
It's interesting, but the truth is, though, my stepfather had worked in the mine. He worked in the oil mine. He wasn't working in the mine then. And at the time I was with him, he was on the welfare, WPA, and he did work some on the WPA, Roosevelt. People have things like Jesus League and Roosevelt feet. And that meant a lot for us. And my stepfather's made liquor. He sold liquor, and as I recall now, many people could do much more with a little bit they have if they were concerned. I remember sometimes people would come to the house, and this was a boy, and he'd count out money, hundreds of dollars after people had left, buying liquors, coming to party. But as I recall, he had one bill after he died, and he'd been paying interest on $5 a month. He'd been paying on it for a year because I used to ride my bicycle to Bessemer and pay it. So after he died in 1936, 1940, I graduated in 40, I was 18. I said to Mama, let's pay this $50. What about $50? You know what $50? $50. Yeah, $50. And I went over and talked with the man from Mama. He said, well, my goodness, Bill Shuttlesworth has paid this debt over and over and just wiped it out. Just talking with him about selling the debt. And we've been paying on that thing $5 a month for. So it goes into what we have now, I guess it's called credit card. People abuse credit. They don't realize that you don't have to owe a lot.
Right.
conserving your own is better than owning somebody else. And that psyche needs to be understood in our generation today.
Did your mother work outside of home?
No. My mother never worked. We were on welfare, as I told you. And of course, I remember riding my bicycle to welfare bungalow, 24th Street, I believe, viaduct. I remember the viaduct there. And getting the welfare goods. My stepfather would get the old bread and a lot of other stuff. It was, we lived, I remember back there when you could buy ham a side of a hog for $1 to it, sack of flour and all this kind of stuff. We learned how to conserve. My mother was very conservative. We never wanted for food.
Did you have any animals?
Dogs, cats. I plowed the hole, went to the field.
Yeah, you had gardens and
We had garden around the house, and incidentally, you wouldn't believe it, but I carried papers. And up where Edgewood is, where those big buildings are now, old factories or something, I threw papers at that far up to the end of the Edgewood Lake, walking, and finally got a bicycle. I carried papers and did what people do, but I was holding the field. And we had, incidentally, a field right there as you go down from that great big church on Oxmoor Road, down in the valley like going to Birmingham.
right.
We went down there here and cut back in to the left, and we had rented several acres there. I plowed the mule, gray, brown, red. My grandfather had a mule, and I did everything.
What did you grow?
Corn, potatoes, peas, different, everything.
So during the Depression, what was life like?
We never did have a whole lot, but we had enough to live. And people could always find food at our house, even other people, and children and so forth. God bless us in that. I have never suffered for food.
Right. So that era, although it was a depressing
In
thing,
the Depression era,
you actually had food because you grew your own food.
we grew some of it at least.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about meat?
Hogs. Yeah, hog, we grew hogs. We killed hogs, chickens. At the same time, we had for hog killing, chitlins and meat. Mama would smoke meat and salt it and down and so forth. We had raised potatoes. I remember putting potatoes in the bank, Man, we did, it was really a regular farming life.
Pretty much self-sufficient, though.
Yeah, self-sufficient. And this area now is within the city limits on the Mary Avenue. This
Right.
city had done it. But that was in the country then.
Oh, yeah. But see, I lived in that area too.
Did you?
In Winona, Riley.
Yeah, on
Open Mountain.
Yeah.
Because we used to hike and
We went,
camp.
I remember, we were talking about schooling. And then when I got in the, 10th grade, I think we started going to road. We had a bus that carried us.
You mean busing was
Busing
back in that time?
People make a whole lot of
So big issue at that time?
No, it wasn't a big issue at all. But we were black who rode the bus. And as I recall, I don't remember the white. There wasn't too many whites in that area, just one, two, in Arsenal. And we went for just a few minutes over in Winona. But then they took us out of Winona. Wasn't over there that long. My Miss Robert Crawford was the principal. She was tough too, they say. And then we went to Rosedale High School under Professor Montgomery, so I graduated at age 18 in 1940 from Rosedale, same year my father died. I just there too after I got my role.
What do you remember about your high school days? Were you active in the extracurricular activities?
Yes. We rode the bus. Typical boy. I get in boyhood fights, things like that, but never no mean, no knives, no guns. And at that time, if you killed one person, you were marked for life. I remember our bus driver had killed a man. There was always a stigma on me, although you liked the man. It's unfortunate now, murder and violence has become a sort of a normal thing. But we would ride to school, and Hugh Jackson and I, we carried on a lot of food. We'd laugh at anything. And we were, for instance, on the bus, like going to school, he'd be sitting up front, I'm in the back. And we'd be talking about kids, some of the other kids, who's one of them was named Joe Nathan, I believe it. His father had gone to jail for stealing a car. And so Hugh Jackson said to me, we were in the front, he said, Fred, yeah, so-and-so daddy went to jail. I said, what'd he go for? Said he picked up a car with a chain on it.
It's always keeping something up.
Yeah, but in school, and I respected Dr. B.M. Montgomery a lot. I'm very apt in school, always to school. Not to take any credit, it's just my gift. Then God had you prepare for the movement, because you see, at one time in the movement, I could go to telephone dial 100 numbers if I wanted to without looking at the book. If I call your number twice, I could commit to memory. It was a part of, what I'm saying is God has somebody for every job.
That's right.
And he specially equipped you for that. And I had the apt phrase. I didn't have to study for words. Dr. King was one. I said, how can you say it? I have to think what I'm going to say. I said, well, God prepared you. But in Rosedale, I wanted to always play football. I couldn't catch baseball, so I never tried too much. And also we had boxing and all this kind of stuff. And I remember, I guess this goes to my desire of foolhardy. I always wanted to play football. And they didn't have the uniforms here, the gear. And I'd get out there in my regular pants and shirt and be tackling folks on the field, because I wanted to do it. And how I got tall was a young man, this is Rosedale High, named Sawyer, called him Pap Sawyer. Was playing one day and got his arm broken 3 places tackling. And pulled off his towels on me, and I picked them up and put them on.
That's where you get your towels.
Yeah, that's how I got my towels, and went right on. It didn't affect me that his arm was there in a twisted, grotesque way, but I had wanted the thing. So this is it. In high school, I made very good marks. Actually, I never made on a B in school, even in college. But I was a valedictorian in my class. Another young boy named Henry Williams was a salutatorian. In Seven University, I was a valedictorian, and Arthur E. Lucid, who went to University of Alabama, was right behind me. So I was always up front.
So you always been a leader then.
Yeah, I never sit in the back of a room unless I'm forced to. I always sit up front. I noticed that some kids usually like to go in the back, then the teacher won't call them, but I always sit up front because I was challenged.
Is that because you wanted to be called on?
I wanted to be called. I wanted to participate. And, well, mine is such a long story, and I don't know how you want to do this.
Well, you just want to, just talk about it, because I think that's important. That's part of that development.
Yeah. And, okay, so that at age 18 or 19, we had this youth thing. I forget the why something. It's on the why.
Mm-hmm.
And I began working. They gave me a job working at Southern Club, old Southern Club.
Was this while you were in high school?
After high school. And I was sterilizing needles and things, and the doctors would examine people on welfare to see if they're able to work and so forth. This is where I met Ruby, girl who I married, one of my 4 children.
The two of you were working there?
She began working there, not in the doctor's office. She was doing something else there. And I just met her. I liked her. She could have been a graduate nurse, had about like another quarter or something. She didn't want to do that. And I remember walking from Southern Club on Fifth Avenue, I believe it was, and to West End where she lived. And I rode my bicycle on across the mountain to Oxford. It was, then we finally got married in 41.
That's, you were there, what, 19,
I was
20?
19 when I married, and she was too.
Let me ask you before we talk about that.
Okay.
How did the death of Mr. Shuttlesworth affect the family?
Well, he had, we call it consumption, basically, but he coughed and spat a lot. And, but he was a vigorous person up until a few months before he died, before he got reeled down. We weren't very close, because he was very hard. And my cousin, who was born with me in Montgomery, my mother had a sister. And she had a son. We both were born in the same room in Mount Mead. So my cousin stayed with us a while. He was very abusive to him, and to me too, sometimes. And we weren't very close. Although I respect him, I had to respect him, you know. But when he got down sick, or when he got down, well, this is an incident. I guess you're talking about formative years. In 1937, my mother and my stepfather would periodically get in fights. And he didn't have much wind. Short wind, very short wind. And she would be always, she was a fire type person. I guess I get some of that too. And if he would start at us, she would get on him about something. I don't know what women or what, but and she would just nag him, get on him. So he didn't have much wind, but once in a while he tell her, "Boy, I'm going to do so and so. I'm going to slap so and so out of it." And he would once in a while whack on him, and then she'd get on him like white on right. He would try to move out, but he didn't have much wind to resist. And I don't need to talk about all of these times, but I remember one time my mother had one eye, you know, in her from 1937 on.
What happened to it?
Well, they were moving in a struggle. And I remember my mother had a broom handle was hitting at him. And he had a chair, and he held a chair up, and the broom handle split. Now I'm looking at this as a boy. And that slit went right into her eye. And you could see this mellowness, or whatever you call it, the eyes got on it. She accused him of knocking her eye, and we thought that too. We just took it and you knocked my eye, but she never had an eye after that. And I guess these are incidents that you want to know. So at this time, I was around about maybe 15. This is back before I got there. And we were going to discipline him for knocking mama's eye out, which as I recall now, actually, I'm looking at the stick that dropped in her eye. He was holding a chair and she hit it and it split in her eye. So my older sister, one is old, and my brother, his first child, we were going to discipline. We knew he didn't have much wind. So we had figured out that we were going to take him home. Mama had been sick and she's in the hospital. Mama had another child, 2 or 3 children after she got out. And so we were going to go in the kitchen and he was going to come in and I was going to be ready and sister was going to say something and Dean was going to bring up the rear and I was going to grab it. See, I knew it was bad that we had, you know. And it's an amazing thing. Young people never think that old people have been where they go.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so sister was coming from this room with the broom. She was hitting with the broom. Eugene was gonna come from this door and confirm that now I was gonna grab. And Papa said something that morning. So I started on with it. I said, yeah, you knocked mamas out. You ain't gonna get away with it either. So he was aware, but he was watching them. So sister began coming through this door of the room, and Jean started Papa standing for, what the hell y'all gonna do? And everybody was everywhere. I never took it off, and I'm glad to this day I never touched him, you know. Right. I don't think young folks should attack their parents for any reason. But I'm talking about boyhood situation. I had a typical boyhood childish life, just like everybody else. But I was religiously motivated, and we were disciplined. My mother did not allow us to talk back.
You had that foundation, that ground.
If my mother called my name, I didn't only answer, I had to go to her. I raised my children the same way. And she and Papa was this way. If he called me, I had to get up and go. All of us. I even, in my children, I think I might have been pretty strong, but I didn't allow them to whine and pamper after if you had the discipline. Mm-hmm. And my second girl, I killed her sometime now. She has grandchildren. But I'd be Spanish. She's a toughie, you know. I said, all right, whenever you get ready to end up, I'm through. I'm putting the belt on her, you know, sweat. And I said, when you smile, I'm through. That's a hard thing. But I did not allow them to go off and pout. And I think now a part of young people's inability to cope is that they can suck with life. You can't suck.
That's right.
And mine had to be a done situation.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, my mother didn't allow me to pout. She come after we get through, and if you're in the corner somewhere pouting, and she just put a little more on you, you know, to help you get over it.
I remember my mama putting me and my brother, shut up.
And how you gonna shut up with the fountain? How you gonna shut up with the fountain?
Yeah.
But then you got to thank the older people for discipline.
That's right.
And pray that at least some way we can get back to understand that without discipline, nobody makes a success.
At 19, you met the woman that you were going to spend the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think I was 18 and a half, somewhere around there. And 19, I met her. We stayed married 27 and a half years. Mm-hmm. And we married and lived in a 2-bedroom on 8th Avenue and 24th Street in Birmingham. We had, she had an aunt. Her aunt right over her had been a twin, and she was the only one that was direct over her and married her uncle. So Adele and Josh, we called them, were the closest relatives. Then she had Adele had another aunt lived down here by the juvenile thing on Green Street in there somewhere. He was her closest relative. She didn't have many. And
was she from Birmingham?
She was from Birmingham, really. I don't know Lum Avenue, 824 Washington Avenue. And we got married, and we would do this. And I had my mother's sister, which is my cousin. She was my favorite aunt. So between these two aunts, we would do. And we didn't have much money. It's an amazing thing, and people need to perhaps know that. We had, I got working at the Alpha Porter cement plant out there.
Oh, okay. Right out off Jefferson.
Yeah, right. And $4, let me see, 54 cents an hour.
How long did you work?
I made 54 cents, and the young man had been working there for 16 years, was making 52 cents. But I was a car hooker in the quarry. They to pull a rock up to be crushed. And our budget was so narrow, so we didn't have about $2.50 to live on for 2 weeks. Got paid every 2 weeks. And my wife would buy a lot of corn and English peas. I used to say in church sometimes. She English peas me to death. I don't like them to death. But this is it. And then we didn't stay there very long. I always wanted to buy a house. That's another thing. from a child. So we went out here to, I don't know what you call this little place. Right down below number 10 mile, in the little area there in Winona. It's not Winona, but you call it some Tarpon City.
Okay.
And a man named William Kroon sold us a house, had 4 rooms, $750. I thought we were doing great thing. So we gave him whatever it was on that house. Folks think lawsuit, I've been about 40 lawsuits. That's the first lawsuit I got. The house was about 5 feet on somebody else's property. And we learned that, and he wouldn't move it. So that was the first lawsuit that
That was all right.
but he did move it. Incidentally, this is the same house that the state tried to get when they took my car in this Montgomery time suit. And they checked in that property, but as the Lord would have it, and I'm ahead of myself, I had got the Reverend L.J. Rogers to make me a deed back, and they did move the house, and he finally put 2 block houses there. They would have taken that property also, but it was a deed for me to Rogers.
Right.
Although I had the real deed that hadn't filed it yet, they would have taken it. They did take my picture and Plymouth car. They took some property from Ralph Abernathy.
Well, when you, after marriage, you went to work, you worked for a while
I worked at the cement plant until, and these dates may be a little hazy in my mind. Worked there for at least 3 years, but after we moved out there, I could walk to what, it wasn't that far.
That's right. Yes.
On top of the city over there. And then the first child was born in that house, Patricia Ann, in 1943. We married in 41, she was born in 43, February. And then I had met another young man in DeWitt, and this is how, my life is almost like Abraham's vagabond, going around. And we decided that we would go where we started to work at this Bector McCone airplane factory here in Birmingham. We wanted to work there so we could get in defense work.
Right.
Instead of that, we took automobile mechanics. And under the government work. And that's how I learned how to, I used to overhaul my own motors and things.
So
Yeah. Although I had a natural inclination for things like that, but this took 700 and some hours of training there. And we decided that we would go to Mobile, start working in the shipyard to make money. Everybody was trying to make money.
Right.
Shipyards.
Defense work.
Yeah. So DeWitt had a family here. His friend Dave, he didn't have a family, but he had a cousin in Mobile who was named Iola, and she lived in an old barber's house with porch go all the way around the house, and it's a round barber shop outside this room on the corner. So we decided we could stay with her till we got places to go. So I left my wife and child in our house, and we went on down to Mobile. As the Lord would have it, it's amazing how God fixes you for what you have to do. We went to the federal government's Brooklyn Air Force Base the very next day. Didn't even get to the shipyard. And got hired, all 3 of us as truck drivers.
On the base.
On the base, Brooklyn Air Force Base. And we got jobs where I didn't have anything to do. I could drive my truck and take people to a place and park it all day. Sometimes, and that they would, the joints between the runways is big, old out and put fresh tar in, that would be one thing, and sometimes the other stuff. And that's all I had to do. Sometimes I just, if I went that morning, I didn't have anything to do but to park my car and read my Bible all day. So I was lured to the Bible. I contemplated. I never knew but that.
How long were you there?
Well, we went and, see, it was 43, I believe it was.
Did you bring your family down?
Not yet. See, this is how the Lord, you skate on the edge of disaster, and yet you got it. You know, the scripture in the Bible that said the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. That's as true as you can believe. So at this time, I have never believed in people that's living prolific, rough lives. I was trained up basically religious, and to have some respect for yourself. So, I was the youngest of the trio of us.
Mm-hmm.
Now in this barber shop, which wasn't, it was around as I recall. It was round, not square like this room, but not too much more room than in here. And there were 3 young women living there. One of them was real light skinned. None was about your color, none slightly dark, but all nice looking good. But the light skinned girl, this took she just found, and all we had to do, see, once we went to work from 3:30 to 11, I believe it was. We would sit out and play checkers. That's all we did. The cousin, Dave's, I don't know what Dave's last name is. DeWitt Murphy. Dave's cousin named Iola, nice looking dog, but she was taking care of this old man. He's real old. And she just cooked and he, I don't know what their arrangements were. And she's very nice. But what bothered me was when we be playing checkers, this real light-skinned girl, and I must admit that I had a problem. I didn't at that time I didn't fancy light-skinned folk. I didn't hate them. There were many light-skinned people around. But I never wanted to be called black by them. I just thought this. You hear kids calling each other that. And the other thing that made it bad, she would come out and wear just a bra and shorts, which I thought was practically ungodly for a woman at that time in the 40s. My puritanical, I guess. I wasn't so puritanical, but I just...
Yeah, that was your upbringing. Though.
Yeah, and maybe I could have liked it a little better if she hadn't been so pushy. You know, I couldn't move. She wanted to move for me on the plane. And so, DeWitt's cousins, she always empathized with. Now, the other 2 girls, very seldom even, I didn't see them hard. They would come by once in a while and keep moving. And one of them I thought was nice, kind of nice. I could have kind of liked her. Also at this time, the government was paying $50 a month, if you recall. And all 3 of those girls liked me. I didn't know it. And this girl wanted to like it. She wanted to give me her check. And I never believed in men living off women. That's another principle. And I thought it was ungodly for her to do something like this. So I liked her that much less. But the one I could have liked, she was quiet. And you know, in a situation where one person is going to take over to do, other people just sort of hang back. And that's why I guess the Lord. And then we were sitting down discussing one day, DeWitt, Dave, and me, and we were playing checkers. She had been there, and Iola had suggested I ought to take her to the movie or something since she liked it so. I said, well, I just don't like her. And I don't play with people. I don't care people know. And she said, well, you can be nice to people. She said, there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with her liking you. But she never said things like this. So she went back in the house. I think she's figuring through it. And you know, these things now say something to me. DeWitt and Dave said, you know what? He said, Fred is the damnedest fool I ever seen. And
were they married as well?
DeWitt was married. He had a family here. Dave was not married. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you got 3 women crazy about you, and you don't like none of them. And they said, no, he got 4. I said, because my cousin, our older, likes him. And I said to myself, my God, look at what I'm into, to myself.
Right.
So it was that situation that made me, we had been there about a week and a few days and had on Birmingham paid twice a month. And we got a partial payment. And it was then that I decided with this partial payment to come back home, get my wife and baby at that time, and moved into Mobile. We moved into a project. Now, the one that I was so good, and I don't want to say that I would not have got involved slightly at least with the one I would have liked. But the other one just pushed. So this was God's way of keeping me. Because you can get into this immorality stuff and just with it. And I thank God for that now.
Your surroundings will make you.
Yeah. So I came back home, got my wife and the child. We were church. Another thing you might be interested in, I don't know how long we'll talk. I was raised up in the Methodist church out here in Oxford. St. Matthew's A.M. I go out there now and do services. I never forget your raised. I don't think you ever get too large to go back to where your roots were. I consider it an honor to see the old people go back to the faith. And my mother was a Methodist. And I had felt a moving toward the ministry by the time I was 18, 17 and a half. And I had spoken to my pastor about it. And he said, and in 43, he was to take me to the presiding elder and bishop in October. I think that's when the Methodists meet. But we left Birmingham in June, July going right. Mobile. And he was going to take me and ask for the licentiate to get my license if the bishop and presiding elder approved. But we went to Mobile. And so naturally I wanted to follow my upbringing and stay Methodist. As God would have it, we had some good friends in the Baptist church, and the Lord had always been good to me. People just take to me for some reason. I don't know why. And some people in the Baptist church were just real nice. They said, come on and visit us. And so I always was out, and I got to get up and do Sunday school lessons and so forth. They took them, and they were people, the whole church was friends. Well, this was Corinthian Baptist Church. And the St. Paul Methodist Church was down the street, maybe 2 blocks away. And I tried to go there, but it looked as if there was something about the services that was just cold, methodic and cold. And it was a difference in the worship at this Baptist church. And of course, I was raised up, in Oxford, got a good Baptist church there. Now we would go down there, we would respect them, but I never thought of being a Baptist.
Right. Yes,
And I said to my wife on a couple of occasions, I said, it's a strange thing. I don't feel like I feel. I said, I'm sort of leaning to this. She said, well, we Methodist. Her family was Methodist and so forth. And we had to drive up from Mobile to Birmingham. Did it several times. And I told her aunt and my mother, it's a strange thing, but I have a feeling I never felt before about this. And I'm really sort of leaning. She said, well, you're raised, so we just didn't make too much out of it. I went back to Mobile, and I had acknowledged to the pastor there that I felt called to minister, and they invited welcome to the church. But I had to go back and sell the issue the message. I said, well, Ruby, let's go with my wife, Ruby. Let's go to church. So she said, and it looked like the service was so cold, and the minister was preaching, it looked like he was doing on a strange. And I said, well, I'm really considering joining this other church. And then I went there, and it was so, I almost was tempted to join the next Sunday, but I went back. That's the church again. And it just didn't take.
So you went back to Methodist
So then
twice?
I went back 3 or 4 times. So the next Sunday, I went back to this Baptist church. Now I remember the sermon that Pastor preached when Samuel, where the Philistines had taken the ark and Samuel had recaptured it and brought it back. And he said, the text was, Samuel said, here I set my Ebenezer, but here the true Lord has blessed me or helped me or something. And that sort of made me realize you have to make a decision and prove what the Lord had done. And I remember that sermon. I remember that particular sermon. I admitted with that. And so I come into it. Here I set my Ebenezer. Now, the historical backdrop is this. Had I been in the Methodist Church, I could not be where I am today in the civil rights, because the bishop would have to say. And even here in Birmingham, a young Methodist bishop, a Methodist minister out in the end, got in trouble with the bishop because he would bring people to the movement and so forth. And
So they'll move you.
they can move you around, they can dilute. And so I remember in 74, he was in Durham, North Carolina, a young man, and I went there and spoke for him in Durham, North Carolina, at the university and other thing. He had a big Methodist church there. And he told about how his bishop had done him. So my point is that I would not have freedom of speech and expression in the Baptist church as long as I get along with my phone. And so I was free. I could say what I wanted to say. No bishop, no president, nobody. King, nobody else could tell me what to say.
Yes.
And I was absolutely free. And at Birmingham, and when I got to Bethel, now there's a long history, and I'm just in Mobile. I'll tell you my life was like a vagabond. Then the second child was born, Ruby.
Was born in Mobile?
In Mobile. Ruby, my wife, we wanted a boy. My wife named her Ruby. And I knew a boy was coming after a while. I sent the certificate back and named her Ruby for a record. That's the second girl. And then the third child was a boy. He was born in September 9th, 46. Now in Mobile,
What's his name?
Fred Jr. Now, I had started taking training, you must understand, of working during the day, going to school out in the country. My wife went to Nazi, out in a place like would be Bessemer from here, going to take a night school 4 nights a week. And that's how I got basically my theological training. Ministers would come and take a little theology, a little this, a little that, and other. But I had a gift, and when the minister licensed me, Reverend E. Palmer, Corinthians, so when I joined the church, he let me preach my trial sermon, baptize me. I was the first man he had baptized. And of course, and licensed.
Now this is Mobile.
Mobile. In 44. Licensed in 45, as I recall. So then I preached around, and that gift, and everybody allowed me to do, preach to churches and in the district. And I had this gift. And so, as the Lord would have it, it's just so many, and you have to just direct how you want it to go.
We're going good.
But I want this.
This is important. I mean, you're talking about foundation.
White, the white Baptists had what is known in Mobile as goodwill missionary to the Negroes. That's interesting. It needs that. Old Dr. Maynard and his wife, retired white minister and his wife, they took an unusual interest in me and my family. So they had, I guess, seen some, I was taking this theological training, and they sought to help. Little help they could give us. Although I was working, I didn't need a whole lot. But they took it to be sure that I contained my religious training. And here's what really made me, I had a permanent job with the government. I had not being a truck driver, I'm a tow motor operator now, where you stack things. And my job was permanent with the government. I could have been working as long as, And, but we went to Mobile to save money. At the end of 1 year, we had exactly $93 saved. And I said to her, Ruben, I said, I could pick up $93 worth of sticks in 1 year, in a year. I said, something wrong. We're not saving money. I said, what I'm going to do, I said, I have the feeling that my life, for some reason, is designed to touch many people. I don't know why I feel like this. I said, so I'm going to school to prepare myself. Whatever God wants me to do, I don't know. I had no idea of civil. I had no idea going by 2 rural churches in the historic First Baptist Church. First Baptist Church is usually First Baptist Church. And that's where I really got ready in self for the civil rights movement. I went to civil rights. So I said, I'm going to school. Well, she never did contradict me because I was going to do what I thought I should do anyway. She said, well, that's what you feel. So I would have gone to school in 1946, but she was pregnant. I have great reservation about men run off leaving their wives, husbands leaving their wives in distress. And Dr. Maynard and others wanted me to go that year, but I said, no, I'm not going to leave my wife. I said, I'll try to go next year. So I went on and worked until the next year. And I remember being in the theological contest, orthodox contest. I was when come up to Seven University, see. From the Mobile thing, there was people from other areas.
So you represent the Mobile district.
Mobile. And I had learned an oration and D.L. Motley, who was pastoring, he was in Selby. They had churches, little rural churches. So I went up and Motley orated, but when I orated, man, the whole, and the president said, well, yeah, he said, I would be glad to have you. We got property back here. We got a little property we're going to build for married students, which was just right in. I said, well, I'd like to go to school. I told my
This is at
Seven University, President Dinkins. He said, we'd be glad to help you if you come. Dr. Maynard and his wife, they were always encouraging. But my boy was born in 46. So in September of 47, now you must remember, I told you I had these gifts. The government always throws away at that time a lot of still does. Aviators' coats, salvage yard, tear down buildings. But so what? I was driving a truck now, and instead of carrying some of that lumber to salvage yard, I had gotten with a young man. We bought a lot on mine faced Gent Street, and his faced Antwerp Street. I said, now you help me build me a house, I help you build your house. And I had never taken train, but we built this clay tile house, 12 by 24, 2 rooms, and trying to help him build one. And then I hauled a lot of that lumber that the government was going to send to the salvage yard. It's piled up on mine. And eventually made that 12 room into a 24 room. I got and figured out how to extend, and it was an old man that belonged to Corinthian church who helped me, It always helps when you want to do something. So on my own, I had a house, 5 rooms, my own house. Which, when I left Mobile, and I put in, purpose saying it, I put in my own gas, put in my own pipes. I can do that now. And I bought a butane tank, have on your head. And of course, so when I got ready to go to school, I dug my tank up and put it on a truck, bought a cow from a market, dressed out to 450 pounds of beef. I ate 2 biscuits. And pile up the stuff, truck, go high, whip, high, big truck. And there was a hurricane going on in Mobile that time when we left. But people came and wished us well and had prayer. Those were beautiful days. And I went on to sell. Got there and we lived in this house back down there. President of the university, well-educated man, but if his wife hadn't had some money, he would have starved to death. President Davis. He could speak some 5 or 7 languages. He told me about it, but he just couldn't get things going. So I moved in this house. I put my own tank, hooked it up, and everything. He said, "Well, Mr. Shuttlesworth," and of course I blazed some windows and I fired a boiler in the girls' dormitory, get up early in the morning. It wasn't too much he could do because he didn't have that much money. So the university always been poor.
So you were God sent to the university then?
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
More ways than one. So he said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'll do." He said, "Now I could buy you a cow and you could sell it. And you could pay for it by giving the school 2 quarts of milk a day, 14 and a quarter cents. And then all over that you have, we buy it for 14 and a quarter cents." And that's how I helped myself a little bit. And I remember the cow had twin calves. And that got first thing I got in the paper way back then. Cow having twin calves was unusual. Well, of course the cow died a little later. But I went and started 7 years. I was glad to be in school. And we made it. We didn't have much, but we didn't have to starve. And then my wife, I've been about a year, being close to having nurse training, began working at Burwell Infirmary.
She had nurse training in Birmingham.
Yeah, before she was going to Tuskegee before. When she lived in Birmingham.
Okay, so she did go to Tuskegee.
Yeah, she and I were about 3 months from being a full graduate nurse. And so she started working at Burwell Infirmary. They liked her there. President Davis was a dyed-in-the-wool Baptist. He just didn't think Baptists and Catholics had anything to do. And even as a young man, I never did let people just dictate to me and run over me. So he would see her, he'd be coming early in the morning. I'd be getting up and he'd be coming down from his home to the school. Be reading the paper, walking, reading the paper. And once a dog jumped at me, he fell over the thing, not paying attention. He was that kind of a central person, but a nice person. And so one day he told me, he said, "Oh, Mr. Shuttlesworth," then he covered up. "Oh, your wife, what happened? What? It's cause, Baptist, Baptist don't have to do with Catholic. No, that. And so when he got through, I said, "Mr. Davis, nobody tells my wife what to do but me." I said, "And you helped me put in a few window panes. And I appreciate you buying the car, but I can't live out of that." And he was so taken back, he didn't expect my response. He never mentioned it again. She kept right on working, and of course, the Lord bless. Well, in Selma, the same as in Mobile, I got friends, Getty Pritchard, the Deacons First Baptist. And I started going to school there, naturally, Sunday school and church. My gifts, I guess, made a way for me. And this is 47. In July 48, a church called me and 11 miles beyond, Everdale Baptist. And in October, another one on this side, 4 miles west of Seven Cups. So I had two rural churches.
Two churches.
Two rural churches, same year. And God was
First and third and second and fourth.
right. Well, the first was one Sunday, third Sunday church. And the church had been built for $1,500. The year I was born, 1922, and they owed $6,000. You can imagine. So they called me, I was a college student, and I go out there, and I remember in our very first meeting, I think my preparation has been thorough. The Lord has brought me through things, and not having training from older people and knowing how to do it, my sense of what's right and what's morally right always guided me. So I remember the very first meeting. They had every year that church be calling preachers. Some preachers have been called there 5 times. So they called me, and this didn't have but 3 deacons. He read this, secretary read the rest. You want to hear this? I said, what is that to hear? Well, you want to hear me read this? I said, what is it? Okay, go ahead and read it. He said, Everdale Baptist Church called Reverend F.L. Shuttlesworth for the year 1948 and 49. I said, read that again. He read it. Everdale Baptist Church called Reverend F.L. Shuttlesworth for the year 1948 49. I said, then you still don't have a pastor. Well, wait, no, we won't do that. I said, no, that's been your problem, I think, calling pastors every year instead of going on and doing. I said, no, I don't have a church. I'm in school and I don't really need one. I said, you don't call me out. Well, we want you. I said, well, no, but you don't call me every year. The Holy Spirit has nothing. I said, I believe that the Holy Spirit has something to do with the churches. And if you follow him, you don't need to have a pastor every year. A young man, 26 years old. And he said, well, we want you. I said, well, no, I won't even come. I said, I'm ready to dismiss the meeting, go and y'all call somebody. No, we want you. I said, well, the only way you can have me is to make it indefinite. I said, no, I'm not asking you because I don't need no church. Well, we want you. I said, okay. Well, I want to know we make it indefinite. I said, you don't have to. I said, but this is your last vote on me today.
You're 25 years old.
26 years old. This is 48 and I'm born 22. Mm-hmm. July. But the meeting was in, July. July 48. So they made it unanimous. And in that very meeting, I think I set the tone of how the church should be run. I said, okay, now you say you think you owe $6,000 there. I said, but we have to find out from the man what it is. I said, okay, let's check. You have, how many deacons we got? Got 3. I said, I don't know them. They're all right with me. Are they all right with you? I said, because these people you're going to have to work with. And anybody that knows anything that why they shouldn't be deacons, you have the right now to say it because these people are my work with. We've got to get this debt paid. All of a sudden, a fellow, he said, well, I don't have nothing against Jones and Sears, but that Papa, the only reason you won't take a drink of liquor, you can't get it. Drink liquor like a steak, like a fish. And people, oh, no, not just, oh, yeah. I said, just a minute. I asked anybody to say, honestly, what you know. I said, he has courage to say, you don't. You talk about people. I said, I don't believe in talking about. I said, now is the time for him to say in the church, we're here in the name of the Lord, what's wrong? I said, he has the courage, so let him say that. I said, anybody else? I said, and then here comes my judgmental quality. I said, and I began to wonder how I was going to solve this thing. I said, no, he's right. I asked him to say this, and you have the right too. I said, now, there ain't but one way of dealing with this. I said, because righteousness determined that we try to follow biblical standards. I said, I think his name was Brother Jones. Now, Brother Jones, if you have followed the Bible in this, then we can deal with this. If you follow the Bible, if you can tell us now that you have, so the Bible says, if you have no brother with a fault, you go to him and talk to him between you and him. If not, then you tell us. I said, now, have you done this to Brother Parker? Because if you did, then Brother Parker can't be a deacon. He said, well, no, I ain't saying nothing to him. I said, well, we can't deal with that. I said, now, Brother Parker, I don't know you. It is said that. I said, you have an opportunity to straighten up. And that's the way I did. And the folks saw my wisdom and they were just carried away, you know. We went on and moved on into it. I said, and they have a knack, it's out in the country, you know. They have a knack of timeliness is another thing. I think this is what was a good thing that I used in the movie. I believe in time. I said, all right, we're going on, what time we're gonna have service? I said, you set the time out, but when you set it, be sure to be here, because I'm gonna be here, we're gonna do. And they have that, people have a knack of voting one thing and doing another. And so they, so what time we'll start next? What time is Sunday school at? Okay. So by the time for church, they wanted me to start Sunday school. So I'd been there that Sunday morning waiting, and so half of them come down the street. Just by the time they were coming in the door, I said, let us stand. Let's be the time. They always came on time after that.
Because they knew you were going to start.
It's an amazing thing that people just, but you see, I'm hard on myself. I'm not just on other people. I think you should sort of try to find a line. But went on, and I don't guess I have time to tell you how we find out how much it did and why. But anyway, we went to the man with $100, and I was hoping to give us a receipt off of the 6,000, whatever it was, 6,500 deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in Selma. And this old man on the stove, people come from out, he's about 80. He was cussing me out. I said, I didn't look like no damn preacher.
Is this a black man or
no? White man on the stove, you know. Everybody comes, this is the biggest thing in Selma. On Water Street, as I recall, near the L&N station. He said, no, I have another deacon with me. We had this $100. I was real proud, you know.
$100, big money.
Yeah, we done make it. He said, no, preacher said, I'm gonna put hay in the damn building. He said, you ain't the first preacher to come up there. He's gonna say, he didn't go around and do nothing but just keep telling lies. They supposed to pay for that building. And that's when I learned how much. He said, it didn't cost $1,500 and 22. And you know, he said, all that's interest. So he was real insulting. And so he called his son, who was much older than I was. He said, so-and-so go in and marry my so-and-so book. And he looked at it and he said, now, Reverend, he said, now, coach, these niggas ain't gonna do nothing. He said, but I'm gonna give you a break. So you look like you're a smart young man. He said, but I'm telling you now, you ain't the first preacher. They've been coming and telling me all the time what they were gonna do, but I'm about ready to close the building up and put hay in it. I said, well, you can put hay in it. I said, but if you gave others a chance, I would hope you give me a chance. We get paid. And he said, well, look at the book. He said, now, tell the truth about it. All this Moses did. He said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, preacher, for you. I'm going to knock it off. I'm going to, 65, I'm going to knock it back to $4,500. I could have hugged that old man. Mm-hmm. I said, would you give me a receipt off of that? And so I took a receipt back to church for $4,400 instead of $6,500. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of a glorious thing to them, you know. And we went on, and when I left there in 50, we had got it down to what 3,900, something like that. I wasn't out there about another year. But this showed you how problem. Now, I said, okay, it's the third Sunday church. I said, well, let's set the first Sunday since we owe this money, and I'm gonna give 50 cents after everybody to give 50 cents a month. I saw those people raise bales of cotton. One fellow weighed 15 bales one year. Another made one fellow named Jack Pettaway who he had to drive right by his house to get to the church. House said it's close to the street of that wall. And his field was right, one of his fields was right across in front of him. At that time I would go out and go to the field. And Jack demonstrated to me one day he could shoot a rabbit's eye out. He wouldn't shoot him in the bed, kick him, and say, now he's gonna come around there watching him. He said, they always go around, come back while they come. He said, I'm gonna wait till he gets around and I'm gonna shoot him. But sure enough, he shot that rabbit through the eye, didn't even hit him in the body. He was a crack shot. And I had to drive right by his house every day. He said, but I ain't with it. First Sunday, that's St. Luke's Day. I said, you ain't gonna do it St. Luke. St. Luke was a Methodist church anyway. I said, you belong to Everday, and you ought to, I said, now 50 cents ain't gonna hurt you. He said, well, I just ain't with it. I said, now, I don't think you're supposed to be in the church and say what you ain't gonna do when you can. And we were walking along the field. He was plowing, as I recall, that day. And I walked up 2-3 rows with him. I said, well, now, Jack, why don't you just try to understand that the church belongs to the Lord and we all working together. I said, I don't have anything. Last year, you made 5 bales of cotton, so at 50 cents. He said, yeah, I can give it, but I just ain't. I said, you realize you're talking about the church and you realize that you can't stand in the church and say what you ain't gonna do. He said, well, I'm telling you, you do what you want to do about it. You didn't make no better no wife. I said, well, Jack, you know. I said, Brother Perry, you know, if you don't get a 50 cent and you're able, I'm gonna have that to turn you out. I said, you do what you have to do. I've always been tested for courage and for it's an unusual thing. So I said to him, all right, I hope you think about it. It's a prayer with us. I always be in prayer. I do too, but I just ain't with that.
It was spirit with that.
So I had another little fellow out there, white hat called Bat Smith. And they had gotten together that they weren't gonna pay. It's a little group of them. Always, it's amazing how they do.
It's always a group thing.
So it so happened that now I'm going to school and had started taking classes in Montgomery, driving 50 miles. And at one time I needed some gas and I had to ask the deacons for I think it was $16. That was over a period of time, not just one time. And they had gotten word of that I had spent $16. And so I guess that sort of helps them in their loan, not them. So we had a September meeting. This was the September of 1949. We were done well. Now, from the year we had already gotten that debt down, we really moved. So I called an annual meeting. I called a meeting and I said, now, we're gonna have to get it straight. We're gonna have to get it straight. And we all go check the road and everything. And I never will forget this little fella. I said, why don't y'all come on in, let's start. They were out under the tree talking and smoking. Well, y'all go ahead, we'll be in a minute. We get straight. It's okay. We started, but they didn't know that they didn't know, and I didn't think, and I wasn't thinking I had so much special about me. So when they came in, I said, we want to read the road. Now, this same Parker that had accused of been drinking first, he put out a rumor that he had heard that I had a baby in the other church. At the same time, the other church gave me an anniversary. Had to be around September, October. They were getting ready. Yeah, September, and this was getting ready for October. They were making plans. In fact, we had an invitation from this church to go down. And so they came in the meeting, and I said, now, we have to insist that we do the best we can. If anybody here can't pay the 50 cents, that's not a problem, but if you can pay it. I said, now, I have some brothers that said they weren't going to pay it. I said, and we at Everdale are not responsible for St. Luke's business. And I said, and I have to say this to the church, and this is the first thing we do today. I said, I talked to Brother Perry. I came out just later on this week. We talked twice. I said, but this week I came back. We went in the field plowing, and I asked him to give the 50 cents. He told me he wouldn't. And I said, Brother Perry, is that a fact? That I go talk with you? Yeah. He said, I said, did you tell me you were not going to do it? You could, but you wouldn't? He said, yeah. I said, I also told you that if you did and can and won't, and tell the church you won't, then I'd have to ask the church to turn you out, right? Yeah. I said, well, have you considered, have you prayed over it like I asked you? And he said, I prayed, but I still ain't with it. I hope it doesn't sound trite. I said, well, you know, I told you that if you say you won't and can, I have that church turn you out. He said, yeah, and I told you to do what you have to do. I said, well, all right. I said, so you won't do it? I said, I want a motion. So they made the motion. And I turned him out. Now, he had sons old as I was. Remember, this is the same fellow I got to drive right by his house. It shot a rabbit eye out in front of me, but I wouldn't worry about that. So he would turn out and I said, now you may be excused. I said, well, don't have him go. I said, no, you got to have everything to do with you being a non, you ain't gonna participate. So he went on out. And so Bat Smith, who was leading a little group on the other, I said, all right, Brother Smith, I understand you. Oh, yeah, we were going to do, we understand that you got $16. I said, are you saying I stole $16? No, but you spent the 16. I said, well, let's get that straight. That may be nice. I said, but that ain't got nothing to do with you doing your job, but doing your duty. Well, if you pay that back, we'll be out. I said, Brother Smith, that had nothing to do with this. I said, in fact, I don't think I'm going to pay it back. Because I didn't steal anything. I asked the officer to get gas for school. I said, you ought to appreciate that. I said, but just to help you out, I don't think I have to, and I don't think the folk want me to do that. Folk kind of grumble. I said, but let's let the folk vote. If they say I pay it back, I still have to decide whether I pay it. I said, all those who want me to pay it back, stand up. Nobody's good. I said, all those who want to forget it, stand up. Everybody's good, including him. I said, all right, now, but that means forget it. Now, Secretary, read the roll with Brother Smith owes. He had to come up and pay up.
He did come up and pay up.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was fun, but that is the worst thing I had to. Churches but this was, I guess, part of my discipline.
This is part of the preparation.
The worst situation I ever had was at First Baptist Selma before I got to Birmingham. And I must move on and tell you that. They had a minister at First Baptist, Grimmett, John Frank Grimmett. I don't know if he's still alive at Keith in Nashville, but he was there. And you will remember that I told J.D. Pritchard printed. He was Superintendent Sunday School, deacon, and a trustee, and sang in the choir. And he was real friendly. Called me FL, I called him J.D., And so this pastor had become involved with some woman or something. Them pooping first, it was terrible. So finally, he left in, October 49. I'm still at my two churches. You must remember I'm going to school.
Right.
In Montgomery, I'm working, and I was getting so tense, but I still stayed in church. So the deacons at First Baptist, and I worked for one of the deacons, the only black plumber named Ben Harris, under the plumbing, doing all that stuff. Rain was slip, he cut, he didn't think nothing about it, he never thought I'd be his pastor. Mm-hmm. And he, Pritchard, and Dr. Brown, who was a pharmacist, the only black pharmacist there. They were the three people who had to do everything. And they did some ungodly things. The church had nothing to do with it. So I guess God had me going through that as a training. So, but they liked me at the church. So then one morning, women suddenly left the church. I went to Sunday school, getting ready to go to my other church about 1 o'clock. And said, we want to see you at the church. The deacon. I said, okay, but I've got to go. So when they preached it, well, Reverend, you got a good message, and people here kind of like you, and we think you can be a help to us, and we can be a help to you. I said, well, in what way? And Ben Harris, I never will forget it. Ben's veins, just numb, stretched along his temple like rope, just stand out there. He's an old man, but he's a nice old person. He's kind of mean. And he took over, he said, well, what we'd like for you to do is set your service back an hour to preach for us. We'll give you $10. Didn't ask me. We'll give you $10. Well, $10 to me then was like 100, 150 now.
Right.
So I didn't say it. I said, well, okay, I can do that. And I knew the other churches would agree. And so, and I had straight in the first church, I had the second church, Mount Zion, Father's Day was a family church. Out of this 70-some folk, 58 of them were family members, the great-grandfather, the grandfather, the grandson, generation. And I can deal with this real quick. When I went there, I said, this is a family church. Yeah. Okay. Second and fourth Sunday. I said, now, church is supposed to be God's family. I always have been able to frame it in a way that is scriptural. And now the old man had whitish. I said, Brother English, 4 generations ago in that church. I said, now you're this family, your blood, right? Yeah. I said, well, here's the way we deal with it. Your blood is corrupt. The blood of Christ is the blood we're going.
It's Christ Church.
Yeah, it's Christ Church, so that means that I won't deal with you as a family. I deal with you as members of God's kingdom. Understand that. So that it went on, you pretty nice. And this is Mount Zion Potter Station. Just a little, that's the only thing I ever had to straighten out there. So they were, maybe if I got $8, that I thought that was good. So I called myself, and they were, whatever they gave the preacher, they were cutting out of it for the pay the life and things. So I said to them, well, now let's do this. Let's what you want to give for life, the expense of the church, do that. But it's wrong for them to cut out of what you give to me. So I said, well, give a quarter one Sunday for the church. And then what you give me, they won't have to cut out of it. I said, then the next thing, and the deacon, see, he had his family on one ward, you know. So I said, we're going to read the ward off so I can hear, because they wasn't reporting too much. The next Sunday, everybody's going to read the list, the ward leader. My good friend Stewart, which figures promptly in the First Baptist, I'll tell you a little later. He had a church named St. Paul. He had a deacon over there would stand up and just head to head with him in the church. You know, I told him, I said, Stewart, he had no business doing that in the church. The Stewart was a nice person. And so that same Sunday that I had told him to read the name, he happened to be in our church. And we didn't have on the board. John Prater was a nice person. The Englishes, and we had a tall, kind of light-skinned fellow named Jones. And I had treated him, I could say, and had sat down. And he got up and said, well, we're a little late, and we won't read the name today. And I just found myself standing up. I found myself standing up at the podium already, just in a second. I said, Brother Jones, did you understand last Sunday, 2 weeks ago now, that we were going to read today? Yeah. I said, well, you didn't say a word to me about it. You just going to announce that? You can't do that. I said, sit down and I'll call the roll. So you sat down. And the old man was first, the granddad. And this was beautiful. I never had no more problem. I said, all right, call the roll. Class number 1, Brother English. And English got up and it was so beautiful. He made one say, and so, and so, 10 cents, and so. But he didn't have it. I said, you didn't have it right now, did you? Act like a man. I was so tickled, I know that. He said, well, no, I don't have it, David. I said, you decided you wasn't going to do what I asked you to do. I'm acting like I'm mad or what. He said, well, no, we'll have it next time. I'll have it next time. I'm sorry. Okay, just make your report. Now, his son was the next one. I said, all right, number 2, Brother English. He said, I'm sorry, Pastor. I said, oh, y'all got together on this thing. I said, I don't know. I don't want to have to get a whole deacon, but we're going to have to follow some direction around it. That's as ridiculous as I could be inside. I said, you don't have yours written out? I said, have it written out next Sunday. Then his grandson, his son. Well, I don't have mine either. I said, all right, just tell what you got. I said, but don't come up next Sunday without it. And so that was all. They did real well, and I had no more trouble with that church. Beautiful, beautiful. I had no trouble with none of the church. So I'm at First Baptist now.
Just a big church.
This preacher left it, so I'm preaching there from October to May. And First Baptist Church, they didn't shout, but I was a young man and I did what I was doing best I could. They started shouting around me. And most time I'd leave them shouting, I'd go behind my back, going down the aisle and be in my church the next 30 minutes, either one of us, that close. And so they had sent out and got, at least 8 or 10 preachers during that time to come and speak. But somehow or another, at May, when they decided to call, it was set that they would call me. And I had no concern about it. They were asking about it. So then, so we decided to call them. Well, now here's where you get into these problems in these churches. These 3 men, and 4 was a man tall, something named Lawrence Dansley, who had a real nice skin, light skin. He was dark, tall. He put his hand on his knee and his finger would come down and third of his leg, real long, real out of fact. But he was the people the others would put him up to say what he was the man, And now remember, as we got there, this church, old historic, steeple 75 feet in the air, history, but dying on the vine. So I had gotten the mission organized, 4 or 5 circles of working, women and young people, ETU and so forth, going to school, and really working myself to death, not knowing, becoming almost nervous because I had waited both the other churches and now this one, and still in school. So these deacons had somehow or other got up that the pastor presided over the church meeting, and Chairman Deacon Wolf, who was Dr. Brown, presided over the deacon meeting, which means those 3 people do what they wanted to do. And I'm sitting in a chair. It's as if I'm rubber stamping you. And I told him I didn't think that was right. Preacher said, you have to get us back there. His steward, Reverend Stewart, my friend, go ahead and tell FL the hardwood floor began to be popular in that area in 52. Go ahead and tell FL that he ain't got nothing to do but stay on them hardwood floor. We're going to take care of it. So Stewart brought that mess to me. I said, go back and tell JD that I can't eat hardwood floor. Yeah, this is just how the Lord does it. And so, and later on, and he said to me, incidentally, shortly after I got there, FL, now you First Baptist pastor, you don't have to fool around these little Negroes like Stewart and others. You big Negro now. You don't need to be there. I said, JD, don't have to fool these little niggas, he said. I said, they need God must love little niggas. He made many more than he did us. Big niggas. I said, and I don't change. Person doesn't have to be a big person to be a friend of mine. So he didn't say no more. I said, I don't let anybody tell me what to say and how to do. Well, you better get with us, because I said, no, you get with me now. Now they had, in a short, let me see if I can sum this up. They had either abrogated themselves, or they said the church had done it, but it wasn't, as you see a little bit later. That the deacons and pastors, or other deacons, because see, the pastor ended up a rubber stamp.
Right.
The deacon could do anything they want to do and didn't have to make a report to the church, Baptist church, in which it's power and it's butter. And worse than that is just only those 3 or 4 that was making all that sense.
They are controllers within the.
Yeah. And he's superintendent of Sunday school, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, I remember going to St. Louis, to the convention. And when I got back, preacher said to me, this is how things go. FL, and did you notice now if you go to Selma, they built project right up almost against the church. So the church had a lot in there. And FL, he just reported me that one Sunday morning. FL, they had to take that property out there, so me and Ben Brown told them to go ahead and take it. I said, who did that? Me and Ben Brown said, nothing else we could do but take it. I said, you can't ever take it, you have to have church go to take it. He thought that was the worst thing in the world. He said, no. And so Ben said to me, Ben Harris, tough. You ain't got no business with me. You go ain't got no expense. You ain't got no business bringing no business before them. I said, but they put you up. And they honor you. You're supposed to teach them business. They don't know you teach them. And they just got heartless mad at me for bringing things to the church and then the church do it. So it so happened that the Lord would deal with things. I don't think that we do so much. We just have to stand where we're supposed to stand, Lord, where things are. I had got another woman to be mission president, and she had 5 circles, more than they ever had in a long time. And we were coming up now to, this is 51. And I left the end of 52, but and Ben had been on plumber. They had built this parsonage, had put the water in, put the gas in, all he did without any bids at all, and sent under the church. So you hear folks say, yeah, folks said them preaching deacons stealing money. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. So at First Baptist, they had a couple of outhouses for toilets to go down the steps. And on that side, the women on the other side. And that old fixture was so bad that if you pull the chain, you got to run outside and put your clothes up, men and women. So I said to them, brother, this is wrong. We ought to put those toilets inside. Well, indeed, the basement of the church is higher than the ceiling. So let's put it inside. So they agreed. I said, well, all right, now let's get estimates on the toilets. Preacher said, no, we don't need them. Let Ben do it. I said, I favor Brother Harris done, even if his bid is higher. Because he's a black Negro plumber. I said, but we should get bid. And they thought I was the worst thing in the world for insisting.
The change.
It was terrible. So they never forgave me for that. I said, all right, but we gonna get bids. So we won't do it. And the church had already voted for it. So I'll have to say to the church, you get bid. Well, you don't have, let us have. I said, no, sir. So guess what they did? They said, well, all right, we'll get bid. But Ben had to be on the bidding committee, so he see everybody else's bid. Now you wouldn't
make his bid.
All right, so when the bids came in, Ben's bid was $7 less than the other 2 bids. $7. I said, well, brother, this isn't a problem. The problem is that you all just insisted that church had nothing to do with it to get them in the first place.
Was he on the committee?
Yeah. So I said, naturally, Brother Harris is going to do it. I said, I told you that at first, but with the idea of getting the bid so that the church would know that it cost what you said it cost. And they thought I was just, all right. So the crisis is coming. But God getting me ready for the civil rights thing. Daddy, when we were good friends, when he was fine, he called me FL. And in church, he shout like a woman sometimes. He get mad, he sit up just like a kid. I said, and so I announced in church one Sunday that we were not going to have board meetings. He sat right behind me, way before all, and he's right behind. when it's time for it to be, I said, I just announced it, we won't have it. I said, because I don't think I should be sitting in a chair and you're done to be able to turn. I have nothing to say. I'm not that kind. Well, I said, well, you can't call a meeting, can you? I said, I just now we won't have it. So let's finish with that. That's the first time he ever had that happen. So I didn't have the meeting for a while. It so happened in August of that year. It's amazing how you remember things. The women had raised the money to go to Birmingham. They didn't mind they're going to provide, they bring the money to them so they could count it and just tell deacon, this authority. She said to me, said, Reverend, they won't even turn in the post when they go out and collect for money. She said, I ain't gonna turn in nothing. And so I said, well, I don't want no trouble. She said, well, you got it. She said, these people are doing their best now to destroy you, and you better let us work with you. Well, I have never thought of dividing people, pitting them together. To me, that's offensive in a church. Her name was Dorothy. I said, well, no, let me, I said, I'll tell you what you do. I said, why don't you just go ahead and turn it in? She said, no. She said, if you order me to turn it in, I'll turn it in. But if you don't order me to turn it in, I ain't turning it in. I ain't studying anything. That's what it was. I said, well, I don't want no trouble. She said, you got it. She said, they're doing their best now to destroy you. They don't want, they're talking about the women. And see, they knew more about it than I did. And so I said, Preacher, already them talking about voting you out of church. I said, well, I'll tell you what you do. Let me go home and pray with you. I said it now when I have to think about it. I said, let me pray with you. She said, well, you pray with me, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. She said, if you tell me Sunday to turn in, I'll do it. But if you don't, I ain't going to do it. As the Lord would have it, Preacher stood back around in my house. Stood. Go out and tell FL make them women turn that money in.
That was it, huh?
So when he said, the women just stood around there, stood said, well, Trevor, I didn't want to do this, but he Preacher told me to come out and tell you. I told him I'd do it. I said, go back and tell JD. I said, go to hell. He said, well, tell you the truth, Fred. Now, you know, I said, Stuart, this is not St. Paul where you let this fellow go up. I said, this isn't St. Paul. He said, well, tell you the truth about that. You know, you do live on them hardwood floors. They'll pay you $180 a month. As the Lord would have it, the assistant superintendent was a black woman. She brought that to her and she gave me a job, making $250 a month. So I'm making $250 plus that $180 they were paying. I think it's $180 or $182, whatever it was. And they just thought, man, that was too much money for me. They couldn't control me, you know. So they were really getting it together. I had stopped the meeting. Then, before I had stopped the board meeting, the park is almost an acre of ground, beautiful little house. And they wouldn't cut the grass. They wouldn't cut it. So I told them, I said, well, no, give me, in the board meeting, the last one I attended before, I said, well, give me $10 for this. Said, well, we don't cut the grass. I said, well, who's supposed to cut it? Well, I said, yeah, but I don't cut the grass. So I just quit cutting the grass and let it grow up around it. Had a little path, grew up to a beautiful house. And so I did say one Sunday morning, I think I'm gonna have to ask the church to cut the grass around here. Well, they didn't want that, you know. So I said, well, we'll give you $10 this time. I said, no, well, we'll cut it. I said, this time. I said, oh, this time, let's cut it. And cut it the next time, regular. Yeah. Well, all of this, they were just backing up. You know. So then finally, to make it to a head now, I realize I'm talking too long on it, but this is history. When his woman didn't turn the money in, he sat around and the fat was in the fire. As the Lord would have it, I had to go down to Camden to do a revival in a Presbyterian church, a fellow who was friends. And that week I got a chance to think that day, you know, during the day, preach that night. And it was good for me. And so when I came back home that Saturday morning, I went over to Selma University, and I was coming back, walking by Pritchard's shop, and he was in there done his work, you know. And looked back at me, something said, go in there and let him know that he's not God. And I walked in there and I said, he was shocked to see me because he'd been talking about me, you know, bad. I didn't expect to see you. I said, I know you didn't. So I came by to tell you this morning that I have observed you as being a person who as much devil as much angel. I said, now you can shout like a woman and curse like a sailor. I said, you want to speak for me and to me, but I'm not to do your work. I said, I really came by to tell you that I don't need you to speak for me. When I make a determination, I'm supposed to do what I think God will. And I finally came by to tell you to go to hell. And walked out. He lifted his eye. He was shocked. I knew the fat was in the fire. So Nora called me and asked me did I want to turn it. I said, no, I'll hold it for a while. See what happened. And so when I did call a meeting, after all the plumbing, all this other stuff, I had one little fella who really thought the word and all of me. And they had got to this fella and he was so fired up so we had the meeting, it was almost a cheerleading squad. Like, we ain't gonna have no preacher running into us. Oh, Israel, but no, ain't gonna have no women running into us. No, I was shocked, you know. And so this little fella, and he said 2 or 3 times, this fella said, so no, damn it. I said, oh, that's nothing. I said, that means the church has to take charge of this now. Christian, what do you mean? You gonna bring it? I said, yes, sir. Church has to decide. I said, this is the church business, you know. I said, I told you to start off with it. And they want to tell me I couldn't bring something to the church. Well, when you gonna bring it? I said, whenever I get ready. Well, we don't have no Sunday morning. I said, we have when I get ready. That's all. So preacher down really got to ride now. Remember, I lived in a little house back at Selma University. And I had to come up a little alley. Joe Creel, bald-headed guy, no teeth, had a store there, but he loved me and my wife. And he knew what time I'd come out going to Sunday school. And you could look straight down the road and see dust for half a mile. The streets wasn't paved yet. So Joe was standing out there when I came out, and he had his hands and waved me down. He had tears in his eyes. He said, Reverend, the preacher had put it out. He said, I know how you feel. God, I admire you. I said, but if you can see your way not to bring it up today, he said, I appreciate it. I said, well, no, Joe, it ain't your business. He said, well, it's my business because I love you and your wife. I think you're a God sent man. He said, but those people have killed so many preachers at the First Baptist. He said, see, I does right there, that's preachers. Just left him. The preacher said to me, if you bring that up today, you done preach your last sermon today. I said, well, I'm on my way now to preach my last sermon. Incidentally, that same meeting where they had all this squad, Lawrence Danton, one of the people in his fingers so long, he was sitting there and before we got into this other thing, preacher said, yeah, people say you part-time preacher, full-time pay. To my teaching. I said, are you talking about my teaching student? Yeah, well, that's what the folks have. I said, I don't remember pointing in the committee to find out what folks have. I said, nobody said nothing to me but you about that. I said, I said, what you want me to do, babysit? You're wrong for. I said, I don't know whether I said all the time would you be that much more holy. Well, that's what folks saying. So down he's sitting there with his hand on his knee. I knew, and I looked at it. And I remember this. He said, you gonna quit teaching or else. I said, how did you say that, Danton? He said, I said, you gonna quit teaching or else. I said, you just gave me my answer. Dr. Brown kind of said, well, what's the answer back? What? The preacher took me, yeah, what did you answer? I said, I'll take the else, whatever the else is. Dr. Brown said, well, what does that mean? I said, that means that I'm gonna get in the boat with the Lord, and we both gonna sail right down the middle of the river. And if God has gotten so weak as to let little people like you get strong enough to sink the boat, then God go out of business and I go out with him. I said, but I don't think you can. I said, that means I'm gonna take the else. I'm not gonna stop teaching. That's what it means. I said, besides, I'm ready to go home. Now all of this, they were just, oh, they were gone. So that Sunday morning, history.
Now, is the church splitting on this issue?
No, it ain't split.
It's just those individuals.
Those deacons.
Okay. And the church is basically.
3 or 4 preachers before me, some of them, they don't preach anymore since they left that church, so this guy. So, that Sunday morning, I got to preach. Now, if I hindsight now, I'd do that before I preach. But anyway, I preached and have good sense. And so I said, they were all sitting together on this long bench. This church kind of curved. They were on this bench on this side. And I said, after I got through preaching, never had time to go. I said, there comes time when a man must decide whether he's a man or mouse. And boy, you should have seen their faces, crestfallen. I said, the church has to decide the relationship in this church between deacon and pastor. And what is the authority? Well, the church has the authority, but I have the authority to at least give direction and expect cooperation. Well, yeah, that's what you're here for. That's what folk want to be. So I had an old preacher named Alexander, whose wife, like, and she played the organ. And when she played the organ, you could make you almost get up off your seat. But he said to me, he said, son, call your conscience. That's what he said. Son, call your conscience. I said, all right, we don't need to sell it now. I said, meet out here Wednesday night. Meet Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. I'm expecting everybody. Now this is a part of history. The same day that Carl Erskine struck out 15 Yankees in the World Series, I was sitting on the side of my car, 35B in Montgomery, State College, writing out my recommendations to the church. The first thing was that all authority in the church be in the body and no boards. Second thing was that the pastor of the church was out of all the business, the board and everything else. Third thing was money. But anyway, so we met that night. It was tremendous.
Church packed.
The church didn't have enough members to fill it, but I think there was some members, folk who weren't members. So they were all sitting on the same, just like that Sunday morning. I said, now, it's unfortunate that this happened. I said, but I cannot and will not play with a church. I will not be in charge of something that's going wrong and not being done right. And as I had said in the pulpit that morning, I said, from the top of my head to the sole of my feet, I'm an old man. Nothing mousy about me. And I said, I told you that Sunday. I said, now the church has to decide tonight the relationship. Who is to be the pastor? What is the pastor do if you want to find it? I said, but it can't go any further like this. I don't know why God sent me to First Baptist. I have no idea. I was satisfied in my true rural church and I was doing well. And I was. If my level of understanding at that time was, and teachers would get a C certificate at that time, they could teach. Teachers would come to 7 university work on that C certificate. If I had true rural church and could get a C certificate and teach, I was all right anyway. I was teaching.
Where were you teaching?
Emmanuel School, right below 7, about 30 miles.
High school.
Yeah, high school. And so Everybody was there. And I said, I'm not for argument, but it has come to a point where I just won't go any further. I said, I don't have to have a church. So the folks said, well, you tell us what you want. I said, all right. I said, now, number one, the deacons said, I didn't call no name, that you all have voted somewhere down the line that all authority go to the deacons and trustees, and they do what they want to do, don't have to make a report. And, oh no, when we said that, we said, oh Lord, the one, old city Thomas, y'all said so and so. He said, no, we ain't done nothing. I said, oh, don't argue. My recommendation is that all authority, final authority, over me and everybody else, be in the body. I said, I want a motion. That's what it said. Unanimous. I said, the next thing is that the pastor of the church preside over all business of this church. I said, the church like a kid to go do what he wants to do. He said, we thought, preacher, y'all know pastor I don't church meeting, deacons. I said, no. I said, no, voted. They voted that. Next thing I said, I spoke to deacon with trustee. I said, whenever thing gets where one man has to do everything, it's the wrong. So I said, the deacons be deacons and trustees be trustees. That was number 3. Number 4 was the pastor of the church be authorized to either sign or countersign all checks, because that's where the power is. We thought you signed. I said, no, Dr. Brown signed. Who told you to sign check, Dr. Brown? I said, let's vote this. I said, because this will either I'll sign or I will tell who signs what to sign. That way I will at least administer. That was what 4 things. 5th one was, as I recall, that the ward leaders be required or be replaced, turning that record and so forth. But see, I had just printed partial list of people hanging with them and me too. And it was 7 or 8, it was 8 things, I think, but that's about 5 or 6.